So, joining me this morning, I've got Jeanette from Multinet. Now, Multinet, you may think, what is Multinet? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be digging into today. We're going to uncover what Multinet is all about and how they can actually assist you as the agent because it's a vital part of our business. What we've actually come to realize is majority of our buyers are not cash buyers. They need to get approval from the banks. And that has always been a big struggle in our life is to make sure that all our clients can actually be one pre-approved, but make sure that they actually get the bond. So joining me today is Jeanette. Jeanette, how are you doing today?
Hi, good morning, Stuart, and hello to everyone. Yes, I'm great. Hope you guys are also doing great.
No, fantastic, fantastic. So give us a little bit of input and background to Multinet. It's a name that we all have heard about. Sean Rodderby, his name goes through publicly all the time in the economy side
Mhm.
of it. Tell us a little bit of a background. Who is Multinet? Where did it actually come from?
Multinet, Sean Rodderman actually established Multinet or took over after he left Betterbond. And Multinet is one of the three only independent bond originators. We've got your Better Bonds and your EBA, and then obviously Multinet. We're independent bond originator. And we've got top consultants that's dealing with you as the agent, getting your bonds through. And we do pre-qualifications on all our clients. And we also pay the best referral fees. And we're also the only independent bond originator that can submit to all the banks, speak directly to them. And we also submit to SA Home Loans.
Fantastic. So this process, getting the pre-approval, give us an understanding of how does an agent go through this process? So many times agents just kind of say, well, it's kind of automatic and we're expecting our buyers to do it. Give us a little bit of a scenario or an example. You have an agent that makes contact with one of your consultants. They have a buyer. What is that process that they actually go through, your consultants, in that journey to get them pre-qualified, as well as the communication to the banks once an offer has been submitted? Give us a quick overview of how that process works.
That is a good one, and it's so important to do a pre-qual, Stuart, in all of you guys out there. The moment that you've got a buyer, you don't really know the ins and outs when it comes to the financial side of this client. So once you've got the client, you send their information through to us, notify that we will be giving them a call, and then we start engaging with the client. And it's so important for you to know what your client's credit score is looking like, because the bank goes back up to 2 years to see how a client has been conducting their account. And this is the only way that you can actually pick up if a client have had arrears before, unpaid debit orders, judgments, these things. And then we start engaging with the client. So just because a client maybe previously had a debt review or has had a judgment or maybe an account in arrears, there could be a very good reason for it, meaning it could have been a death in the family, it could have been that one of the spouse lost their incomes. There's so many scenarios, and then we establish as the specialist whether, knowing also the bank's criteria, whether this is something that we will be able to motivate. We then tell the client what do we need to do that, and then we're upfront with you guys. And I think that's so important that you know that we might get a decline, but I do think I might be able to motivate this application for you. So we do submit, and if the client is not able to deal with it, or the credit record is so bad, we give them advice and we can help them with the debt review and to get their scoring correct. And our clients actually come back after 6 months or 8 months or a year, and then we retain that client and we assist them. So it's also very important when we start engaging with a client. I've seen so many times the agents is going ahead, signing an offer to purchase, and then you don't even know whether the client is married. And if the client's married in community of property or traditionally, the spouse has to form part of the application. And so many times that spouse is either maybe not a non-South African citizen, or their credit record is quite bad, and then that will affect the main applicant. And this plays a very big role. So that also highlights that kind of information for you. We also check whether your client, how they are employed, because that is so important. If you've got a South African citizen working abroad, you might be dealing with a non-South African citizen, or someone that has got their own business. There's so many different ways that we can structure the deal, and that means also that the client might not get 100% on this application. And this is stuff that we didn't discuss with the client, because you take the client out and they might not have the deposit or the cost to pay for the bond. This is another thing we discussed with the client, explaining to them the cost, and we can do offer the client a cost inclusive, also depending where the client is banking, how the credit history is looking like. And we obviously then can motivate for that and assist with that. It's also very, very important to make sure that we comply with affordability and make sure that the client can actually afford. So we assist the client in completing the application form and guiding them, and then giving the feedback back to you guys to say, what are we dealing with, and should this client be able to afford the bond that they are looking to apply for. I think the most important thing is the expertise and knowing how to put the bond together and where the client is banking, so that we can engage with you and give you the feedback so that you can see or know and what to expect of this application that we're dealing with. The nice thing about Multinet's credit checks, it also doesn't leave any footprint. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
No, great. So the simple process is it's not something that's lumped onto the actual agent to go and fill additional documentation. They can simply make contact with one of the Multinet consultants and say, here, I've got my contact, name and a number, possibly even an email address, and just link and tie the two. Is it as simple as that? And then you take care of the rest?
Absolutely, Stuart. You guys work so hard in getting the client, and we then take over, phone your client. If you do have your client's ID and stuff with you, you could always assist them and take a photo. We even convert that onto a WhatsApp and put it into a proper format that we can use, as long as the documents of the photo, all four corners of the page is visible and the document is not cut off. We can even use it like that. But a simple telephone number, we engage with the client, get all the documentation, and Multinet has even got an online ITC check that the client can do. As long as they've got an internet connection, they can do this online. They don't even have to fill in the consent form for the copy. So that works very well as well. And it comes directly to me, and we just do everything and let you know where we stand. You get then the pre-approval. It's not sent to the client, so the client has to come back to you. I just inform the client that I've spoken to you, and the pre-approval certificate has been handed to your agent, which will be you.
Fantastic. So that particular link, is it something where they can find on the website? Is it a separate link for the actual end user to do the RTC check?
Can set up a link for the agent for the specific, that while they're with the client, they can send it through. It will be a specific link for that agent, and it will come through then directly to myself, so that the client's RTC has been done immediately. I also do prefer to then phone the client immediately to get all this information we've just discussed in the prequel, to give you a complete overview of the client, what we're dealing with and what we can expect, and whether our application is going to be successful and how we're going to structure it.
Fantastic. So that makes it so much easier for agents getting in that communication. So now you've got that application, and you did mention major banks, SA home loans, but who specifically can you actually submit the application through to? Give us an idea of which banks you actually are directly working with.
So we're working with all the major banks, and you get clients that are private clients or RMB. We even submit through to them. That's another thing I would like to discuss, the private banker. A lot of clients might say that they would like to work with their private banker. So I'll get into that just now. But we submit to all the major banks, as well as we can also help with the FLIS, and we also the only bond originator that can submit to SA Home Loans. So a lot of clients are under the impression that if they are banking with a specific bank, especially for a number of years, that they are automatically going to get the best deal there, and that's not always the case. I find that in many cases, one of the other banks gives the client a better rate, especially if the client has got some internal, maybe a personal loan or a credit card years back that's still flagged on the system. One of the other banks might not pick that up. So it's our expertise that helps in situation like this to know how to position this application, and then obviously also then to, with each bank's appetite and credit policies at the time, with the client's needs, where we would position the application.
Perfect. So it's covering all the major banks, SA Home Loans, plus a lot of the private banks, which really helps because we got clients from all rays and all
Yes.
income streams. So one place that will be able to assist those particular agents. So this is actually not only saving you some time, but it's also giving you that little tick box to make sure that your agent, your actual buyer, gets a particular bond. So we're now going through this particular process. They've done the applications. You've now submitted through to the actual banks. They've got a bond approval, which I can tell you now is one of the greatest things that actually happens for a real estate agent, because then they know they are
Mhm.
that much closer to getting commission. Now, there is an additional benefit, and you did highlight this earlier in the session, that once you've gone through this particular process, there is a bond commission amount that can also be then given through to the agents. Tell us a little bit about that. What is that bond commission amount? How does that get calculated?
Okay, first of all, I would just like to mention, I'm also just getting paid commission on bonds approved. So it is just as important for me to get your bond through. Um, so I work very hard and to get our bond approved. So Multinet pay one of the highest referral commissions. We pay 0.5% commission to our EXP agents. So, and that gets paid upon registration. The week thereafter, your details are loaded onto our site and you get paid directly from Multinet. It's an automated process. We can also set you up with our bond list system. You can track these deals and you would have access to the system. So yes, a 0.5% commission. So on a million bond, 5 grand is not to be wasted, I think.
Absolutely. And one of the key points here is EXP does not take 1 cent of that.
Absolutely.
100% goes directly to you as the agent. And that is something that is so unique, because a lot of the agencies out there, a big portion of that actually goes to assisting of running the costs and the overheads of their particular offices. So 100% comes through to you. And something that I can actually share, one of our agents that works in the Sandton area, it was about a month ago, he got paid out. And this is an absolute, it really, when I hear this figure, and Jeanette, you can speak about similar payouts that you've experienced with various agents. But one of our EXP agents, not even about a month ago, got paid out 45,000 Rand in bond referral commission. Yep, 45,000 Rand. That is absolutely amazing. Jeanette, I'm sure you've had other agents that have had very similar payouts of that nature.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I say, it's all automated. You are loaded on the system. And once that bond is registered next week, it's usually the following week, around about a Thursday, the payouts are done automatically via our system. So yeah, few. And that
Fantastic.
always assists with, it helps to cover some cost. And 0.5% commission is quite high in the market, I must say.
Absolutely. So from start to finish, what you can see with Multinet is one, the easy process that goes through. And just answering on Nigel's question, yes, they are the only bond originators that actually can do applications to SA home loans. So that is a major tick box for a lot of people wanting to go with a different way of doing their applications as far as the interest rates. So that simple process from start through to finish, easy way, easy application, Multinet assisting you by really getting your clients and going through that process with them. Having that OTP, Multinet then submits it through to all of the banks. So we've got the four major banks plus SA Home Loans, plus any of the private banks that Jeanette has actually referred to in our session. And then once it's completed, you actually earn 100% of that 0.5% of that registered deal. So, as Jeanette said, if you're doing a deal and it's R1,000,000, you're going to earn yourself 5,000 Rand in bond referral commissions. So, the last question that I know a lot of agents are going to ask is, Jeanette, how do we contact you? How do we contact Multinet? What is that process that they can go by?
I saw there was another question, whether you also get the zero point 0.5 on SI home loans. Yes, you do. So just to
There we
cover
go.
that. So to contact me, you've got my contact information. I'd love to chat to each one of you. I'll send you a WhatsApp with my contact information, and I would like to ensure you that I'm there to assist you. It is very important that we form a team. You concentrate on the property, and I concentrate on the finance side of things. And I try, no matter where I am, to always take my calls and phone back as soon as possible, because I know when you contact me, you're probably sitting with a client and you've got a complex question or maybe a scenario that you need to ask a question. So I try and get back to you as soon as possible. You guys mainly work on WhatsApp, you're on the road. So just from my side, I create a group where it's you, the client, and myself. So you are updated on a every second day basis as to where we are. Have I received the documents? What is still outstanding? Where we are in the process of the application? So you are constantly updated, and this is done on WhatsApp so that you are aware and know where we stand with our application or documentation. So that it just makes things so much easier. You guys are not always on email. So I find that it works quite well. And you're more than welcome to contact me, even if it is after hours. I know we all sometimes have something, but if I am able, I will take it, because I know you guys do viewings after hours as well, and you might need me. I'll be there.
Fantastic. So, Jeanette, I've actually on the actual chat box, if you want to put your contact details in the chat box so the agents can actually take that, they'll be able to reach out to you directly to actually go through there. I have opened up the microphone. So, if you've got a question, just pop up your hand. We do have Jeanette from Multinet on the actual call, and you can actually ask the question directly to her. So, if you want, put up your hand or turn on your microphone. Alternatively, you can pop that in the actual chat box. It's always great to have our vendors and our suppliers that come onto these particular sessions so that you can actually see what their service offerings are all about. And today with Multinet, it's all about making sure that you can get those bonds closed. And that's one of the most important parts of our transactions that we do in real estate, because we don't have, there are cash buyers out there, but vast majority of our deals are bonded. Because of the size, nobody has a couple of million that's lying underneath the actual carpet or in the mattress. So you have all these bonds, and it's a great way to make sure that you're working with a particular partner. So in the chat box, click on that particular link. You'll be able to then open up a new tab and have Jeanette's details. You can contact her, and she'll be there to assist you. It seems like, Jeanette, we've actually answered as many as the questions that have come through, because there's no questions that have come into the actual chat box. And I think we're actually in a point where I think everyone's fairly comfortable to actually know exactly how to go through in this process. So before we close up on the session, any final comments or response or anything from yourself, Jeanette?
No, just looking forward to working with you guys. We've got a long-standing relationship with EXP, and we would just like to partner. This is a partnership where we both benefit from getting the bond through. And at the end of the day, this is a customer experience. You do everything you can as an agent to give the best customer experience. It's my responsibility. Then up to registration point to just pursue further and give the client the same fantastic experience. And like you said earlier, Stuart, there is not more satisfaction than having being able to tell a client your bond is registered. Congratulations, and we blessed you in your home. It's just amazing. And that's what we're
Absolutely.
there for, and we team up together.
No,
And thank you for you
fantastic.
guys, and thank you for the opportunity.
No, always a pleasure. Jeanette, thank you so much for coming onto this call today. It's always been a great pleasure to speak with Multinet directly, to get that insight and to really go through the simple process to from start all the way through to getting some referral commission in your bank account. So again, thank you, Jeanette, for coming onto this call today. Guys, I want to thank all of you for coming onto this call. So from myself, Stuart, I want to thank all of you again for coming on. The final words from myself: the future of your real estate, it starts by making sure that every deal gets bonded. You all have a fantastic day further.